Hello YouTube, this is Dakota from Bowtied Media, and today we've got a brand new installment of This Week in EDM, where we go over songs that came out this week in EDM. As always, there's a Spotify link down below, and just remember, this is just my opinion, do not take them as gospel truth, so let's hop into it. In the trash category, we've got Armin van Buuren and BLR with Bach to the Future. After a hit of pretty solid commercial EDM tracks the past couple weeks, we have been now graced with an onslaught of pure slop for pretty much, I guess, from all corners of the EDM space, commercial EDM space. At this point in Armin van Buuren's career, I literally have no idea what songs we're going to get. Man's literally had some of my favorite tracks of this year so far, but also the literal worst. This Bach-inspired techno track is already 2 years too late to the leading edge of the techno trend, and in a vacuum still sounds not great. Why is everyone so obsessed with trying to modernize classical music? Just leave it alone. Then we got David Guetta, Hypaton, and Europe with the Final Countdown 2025. I mean, this was to be expected, right? David Guetta continues to butcher beloved classic songs, and this is just another rendition of that sentiment. Then we got Tiësto, Odd Mob, and Goodboys with Won't Be Possible. What a weird trio of producers to collab. Well, really just kind of Odd Mob here joining Goodboys and Tiësto, because this thing was predictably a mess. The beat is incredibly bland, but more than anything, the vocals are a massive turnoff for how just annoying they are. I have no idea how the song got greenlit in any capacity. Then moving into the bad category, we've got Rezz and Chuurch with Telepathy. Chuurch is this fairly unique style of what they call lean bass that's intentionally very minimalistic and tonally empty, and I just don't really think it gels well with Rezz's more typical mid-tempo sound. The track kind of just feels unsettled at times and boring at others. Then we got Nicky, Romero, millforlife, and Rory with Don't Be Shy. A pretty pointless dance pop sort of deep house track that just has no substance or even remotely interesting elements to latch onto. This is EDM in its most derivative form. Even the vocals are unintelligible at times. Then we've got Rehab with The Chase. Boring main stage that has no value outside of a festival. The beat is bland, the synth hits are so generic, and the vocals are whatever. Then hopping into the meh category, we've got Cyclops with Blunt Song. Yes, this is very much a gimmicky song, but I do think it does a decent job of playing into it just enough that it's not too annoying, but also clearly very silly. I'm sure this will be the anthem for many party-going EDM fans out there, so I have no doubt that this song will actually stream quite well. We got Alan Walker and King with Story of a Bird. This is far from Alan Walker's worst this year, but it's also still nowhere near his best. The beat is tired, the production is formulaic, and I'm sure King will bring in a whole new demographic of listeners, but I'm not sure that even they will find this track overly exciting. Then we got Manila, Killa, and Sarah de Warren with Obsession. Yet another big room techno track that is just trend hopping. Nothing really to note here. It's generic, it's fine, it's a song that exists. Then we got Vicetone with Over Too Soon. Even though this is one of Vicetone's best tracks in quite some time, I'm still struggling with how little energy is coming from these newer cuts. The production itself is fine house music, but more than anything, it was the vocals here that really turned me off of this one. Then we've got the Rinzen remix of Higher, originally by Lane 8. For a progressive house track, I just expected a bit more natural progression, especially for a 6-minute song. I just felt like we weren't really going anywhere with this one. I didn't really mind the atmosphere of the track, but it's just far too generic by today's standards. Then we got Kai Wachi with Butterfly Dream, a rigid and heavily distorted dubstep cut with an odd kind of squeaky melody at times that just doesn't quite land for me. It's a unique track for sure, but I just think there are too many conflicting sounds and ideas for me personally. Then we've got DJ DIESEL and Ivory with Run It. For a DIESEL track, I think it's very fine, although for Ivory standards, I'm a little disappointed with how little happens on the drops. Other than the long bassline sustains, there isn't really much to latch onto other than Shaq's vocals, which are also pretty absent on anything that's not the verse sections. Then we got Calvin Harris featuring Clementine Douglas with Blessings. Maybe the harmonica was just a one-off, and we're done with that for Calvin Harris for now, but he is back with another Eurodance track that very much resides within a sound that we've already heard from him before. I just think that his Ellie Goulding collab tracks of this same-ish style were much stronger.
Submission, baby, do or die, don't leave me untouched.
We got LSDXOXO and Shygirl with Satisfy, a moody and erotic hip house stylized track that just didn't quite work for me. It stays in a really low register the whole time and just didn't offer much beyond the established sounds in the first couple seconds. Then we got William Black featuring Siberia and Freya the Dragon with Waiting on This Day Forever. Some people haven't quite got the memo that Mellowdub is back, as William Black struggles to find a new angle for a genre that's been pretty much beaten to death at this point. Then we got Teddy Killers and Sweetie Irie with Tonight, a pretty typical drum and bass cut from Teddy Killers with vocals that are fine to me. If anything, this track is just too much like some of their other ones, and it doesn't really want to make me revisit this one in particular a whole ton. Then moving into the good category, we've got Big Gigantic with Move Around from a new kind of A-B double-sided single release. I do have a real soft spot for Big Gigantic's electro-funk, saxophone-focused tracks that, just like this track, often have a dirty dubstep edge to them. Although I prefer the A-side of Free Spirits to this track, this tune is pure energy. Then we got Cloud Cage and Austin Salter with Come Back from another A-B release. Cloud Cage has been on a hot streak of some of his best production yet. The production here on this cut is a little bit more uplifting than your typical Cloud Cage song, which plays a nice accompaniment to the hopeful lyricism from the vocals. Then we got Degs, 4K, and Hologram with Pressure from the new If We Left This Earth LP. A solid Euro-focused drum and bass project that is a little more personal than your typical EDM record. This track in particular is one of my favorites, as the beat is a little bit more aggressive and has more progression than some of the other tracks from this album. Then we've got the Arcando remix of Limitless, originally by Martin Garrix and Mesto. The original track has a very well-defined Mesto synth melody, and hearing it put to the tune of drum and bass was actually quite eye-opening, or I guess ear-opening for me. I think this track is stellar and does a great job of keeping the original sound very much at the core. Then we've got Mr. Fiji Ouija with There For You, my favorite of his 4 most recent singles that are presumably leading to some larger project, considering that all of the album arts are alike, just with a different color. But yeah, Fiji is a little bit more playful with the vocal chops on this than he's been as of late, and he's really gotten into that groove and that quite delicate balance of those chops and the percussion work on this song in particular. Then we got INFEKT and Samplifier with Echo. The Rhythm Gods are here with a new collab, and it goes hard. As someone that actively doesn't really enjoy rhythm/trench, this one kind of works for me. There's enough variety while still keeping things straightforward, as rhythm is fairly defined by. And the little sound design bits here and there really enhance this track to another level. Then we've got Nitepunk and SOH with Spill. Always a treat to get more breakbeat from Nitepunk and SOH, and while this may not be the most exciting collab between these two, it's still a great track with fantastic mixing and a truly playful, subtle production elements all sprinkled throughout. got Zensei with Love. Zensei's more garage-focused tracks are probably my favorite Zensei flavor, especially when he gets a bit more playful like he does in the final movement of this track. This might actually just be one of my favorite Zensei tracks yet. Then we got Pink Pantheress with Illegal from the new Fancy That mixtape. New dance pop two-step mixtape from Pink Pantheress here, and this is really a great sound for her. There was a review of this mixtape in particular I saw from RB Batty on Album of the Year that just said, "What if Charlie XCX snorted glitter instead of cocaine?" And I think that's literally the perfect metaphor for not only this mixtape as a whole, but this track individually. Then we've got Starseed, Newport, and Micah Martin with One Night. I really need to reiterate the fact that Melodub might truly be back. A fantastic showing from all three artists here for a creative Melodub track that has both a more melody-focused drop and a more intense, truly dubstep finale. Pure melodic dubstep bliss with this one. Then we got Vendetta featuring Jenny and ZDX with Feist. Almost a year since Vendatta's last track, and I wouldn't really call this a comeback one, but I'm in love with this vibe. It's smooth, has lots of R&B influences, has these glassy synths, and a great vocal feature, all while residing in a simple house beat. Then we got Blastoise, Trivecta, and Amity with Arise. Another Melodub psytrance fusion that just works well. All three artists here bring a unique flavor to the production of the track, and in tandem, the sum is far greater than its parts. I'm telling you guys, Melodub is so back, and I think now that we're kind of past this point where every song has a psytrance drop on it, tracks like these in particular are starting to feel a little bit more special again. Then we've got Effin with Bringing Me Down. Effin doing classic Effin things is always a delight, and while this may sound fairly similar to some of his tracks of the past, it's hard not to love this unique blend of nostalgic vocals and heavily distorted, minimalistic dubstep production. And in the standout category, we have got the MPH remix of See You in the Afterlife, originally by Foster the People. MPH has been on fire as of late, and this Foster the People remix is just a testament to his ability to make any track instantly groovy. MPH transforms a song about death and the afterlife into pure UK garage bliss with the most infectious percussion work and vocal chops of this year so far. And finally, our emerging artist spotlight of the week is Exodus Era with Squid Meat. A intensely glitchy track that primarily resides in the kind of mid-tempo side of things, but often ventures into an explicitly dubstep sound. The mid-sections here have these kind of cyberpunk aesthetics to them. It's a wild track with a lot going on, and I think it all works for the most part. But that's been This Week in EDM. Let me know what you think of any and all songs in the comment section below. But other than that, I've been Dakota from Bowtied Media, and I'll see you guys in another video.